And a very good morning to you. It's day 2 of Cheltenham and day 3 of the week, even though we've already lost a day this week. I'm here, Owen's here. Owen's reveling in the fact that he had the greatest day of his Cheltenham life ever yesterday.
Yeah, I came on, I kind of felt like the stupid kid in class yesterday when John Duggan was lecturing me on how to bet good. And he told me that not betting on every race is probably a good idea, so I didn't. I took 2 of his bets. I was like, I'm going to pick 2 of your each-way bets that I like the most. So
First 2?
The first, well, it was one in the first race and then one in the 450.
Oh,
so,
yeah, okay, so
Somerville Boy in the first, which John tipped. I put a fiver each way on that. And then Rathvinden in the 450, I put a fiver on that each way as well. They both came in for a nice profit of about, well, they didn't both just come in. They both won, which meant a profit of around €100 overall for my €20 expenditure. That is being an absolute pox. That's exactly what I was yesterday. And thank you to John Duggan. You really are my best friend.
Nothing like
you don't know it yet, but you are my best friend.
Nothing like a bit of after-timing, Owen. People really hate that in the gambling industry.
Except for the fact that John Duggan was literally on this programme yesterday giving these tips to the nation.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I kind of sporadically backed some stuff, mostly that I'd already done. And then we had Johnny on earlier. And as he called out, it was, oh, look at you on the phone. Yeah, I should have stayed off my phone while I was talking to Johnny yesterday.
What was the damage?
He didn't have a good day. Well, we had Menglican each way in the first, and that was it.
You lost, and then you were like, that's me done. I'll take my beating. And
No, Menglican came in each way in the first.
Oh, okay.
Third, I think.
Oh, yeah, I did finish third.
But none of my other bets.
It's a big shame. Sure, today's another day, as they say.
Yeah, another day to another new and interesting ways to lose money.
Yeah, yesterday I think the kind of trendiest way to lose money was probably Faugheen, in terms of just getting on and saying this is going to have a great run today. Don't ignore all form. Just look at this horse. Look at the name. It
was emotional. It was an emotional response. It was like a desire to see something beautiful from the past, just like Manchester United fans had round about half-time, all that first half last night, and well into the second half. They're like, it would be good to be the old Manchester United, where we tried to attack when we were at home, where we liked having the football and knew how to pass it forwards.
I've got to the point now where I'm starting to feel sorry for Manchester United, which isn't a good thing. I want to hate them, but I can't. I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for somebody like Marcus Rashford. Like Marcus Rashford is 20 years old. He still should be at the age where he has this youthful exuberance with football, but it kind of seems to me now that his relationship with football is kind of like a forbidden relationship. It's kind of like he's a character in Romeo and Juliet. He's kind of, he wants to, have a romantic relationship with a forbidden family, and because of this conflict that exists as a result of José Mourinho, he can't have this. He's kind of this rigid function in a society that is José Mourinho's set up at Manchester United, and I feel really, really sorry for him.
You can truly divorce him from the rest of Manchester United. You can hate the sinner, love the sin.
Exactly. Like, I'm also beginning to feel sorry for Paul Pogba. I'm starting to feel sorry even for Alexis Sanchez. So, like, I know it is a big statement coming from me, but like Paul Pogba rolls in like a Rolls Royce. He's been, I suppose, he's gone backwards to the point now where
Paul Pogba has had his talent stolen by the monsters from Space Jam, says at Owen Sheehan.
Well, that's my theory. I think that the Monstars, as they're known in the movie, just came, and instead of focusing on Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan, they were like, Paul Pogba, we're going to have a bit of your talents. I'm not sure if the Monstars have actually got the trendy haircuts or the Instagram followers yet. But
did you just come up with a reboot of Space Jam starring Paul Pogba?
Yes.
Wow.
Because there was always, everybody photoshopped LeBron's face onto the Space Jam poster. But I've got a new idea for you, Universal, Paul Pogba. But I do feel sorry for him. So, like, my point is that he's regressed. Like, he comes in and he's gone from something like a Rolls Royce to a Nissan Micra. And the same with Alexis Sanchez. He comes in at a similar level. Also like a Rolls Royce. A Rolls Royce who likes to betray his teammates, but still a Rolls Royce nonetheless. And has also kind of gone to a retrograde step where he's also a Nissan Micra at this point. And it's like they're just kind of two cars in a car park at this point, just moving in lateral directions with no creative function, under kind of a ticket inspector who's got an over-exaggerated sense of his own ego, which is José Mourinho. He thinks that this is my thing now, you are going to move in exactly the way that I want you to move, and you will not have any other sort of freedom. And like I think Alexis Sanchez has kind of fallen for the old "the grass is greener on the other side" cliche, where he shows up at Old Trafford and not only is the grass not greener, there is no grass, because as I've said, it's a car park. It's like there is no grasses in car parks. That's the only thing I can kind of say really at this point. It's just pure and utter kind of cogs in a functioning wheel.
Not functioning anymore though, because it turns out they were beaten last night. Obviously, that's the menus coming from last night's Champions League, a 2-1 home defeat at Old Trafford by Sevilla. It means Manchester United won't be going through to the quarterfinals. Roma beat Shakhtar Donetsk 1-0 in the other game. Let's tell you about what's coming up. Andy Mitten from United We Stand and ESPN writer is going to join us a little bit later on as well to talk about the fallout from that, what it means for Alexis Sanchez, for Paul Pogba, for José Mourinho. Will Mourinho still be around at the start of next season? You wouldn't be terribly surprised if this precipitates one of those declines that we've seen that happen under José Mourinho. Johnny Ward's going to join us to defend his honour at around about 8:05 and to try and pick some winners for us. We'll bring you some of AP McCoy's tips as well just after 8 o'clock. John Duggan's going to join us at 9, and we've made another movie. John Phillips is living in a caravan parked outside the house of John Kavanagh. And is fighting this weekend. So it's an amazing story. He's fighting out of the SPG, and Kavanagh's obviously training him, and he needed somewhere to live, so he's pulled his caravan up outside the house of John Kavanagh. So we filmed in the caravan, and we'll show you a little bit why you should be following this guy this weekend. He talks about his time in prison as well, so that's a phenomenal story, and it's coming around about 8:40 this evening. If you want to get in touch with us, you can drop a comment to us in the below section on YouTube or on Facebook, or you can just add us at Off The Ball AM and at Off The Ball on Twitter. And it's worth turning on your notifications for all those accounts, because we'll let you know whenever we're going live across the day, and we've got loads of live stuff for you. Especially this week, we're going live every day for our Cheltenham special around about 12:30. And the football show's been started to stream live last night. Kev was on live from Old Trafford, and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people were watching late last night. So it turns out people like to watch stuff on their phones.
Particularly, I'd imagine, Manchester United fans. It's like...
in the aftermath.
Yeah, exactly. There is something therapeutic about that, about the twisting of the knife. And it's like, Graham Souness, Neil Lennon, I want you to twist the knife. Now Kevin Kilbane and Nathan Murphy and Dan McDonald, come on, twist the knife a little bit further.
Oh my God. A terrifying insight into your mind.
But I don't think that I'm the only person there. It's like, it's cathartic.
No, there's a whole subgenre of your type.
Not really, no. I'm saying that it's human nature, no? It's
when you enjoy pain.
Okay, so it's like you're going to experience this level of pain now, but in the long run, it's going to be therapeutic.
Okay.
You've trashed it out. You can
save that one.
Comment on the streams, all that sort of stuff. It's a two-way street.
Let's bring you what's in the newspapers.
OTB AM.
In association with Air. Get Air Sport free with Air Broadband.
Let's start with the Herald this morning. Red-faced reads the headline on the back page. United out of Champions League after Sevilla double. That's Ben Yedder's 2 goals last night sent him out of the Champions League.
The side story on that one is about...
yes, of course, John Horan. He's been speaking to Conor McKeown, of course, of the Herald this morning. And I want to split SFC, reads the headline there again. So basically, a GAA president who's supporting the idea of a 2-tier championship and expects it to happen within the next 3 years, he says. So that is a big statement from John Horan. It's one that you would suspect will be divisive enough, particularly because he's the president of the entire association, not just the president of Dublin and the top-tier counties.
Yeah, so... obviously, anytime they've tried to sell this before, it's like a B championship or an intermediate championship or a junior championship, or it's always been labelled as you're not going to be part of the race for Sam Maguire. And always the players, and that's their prerogative. I disagree with their decision, but they always come back and say, no, geez, we want, who knows, we might, one of those days, we might actually turn Dublin over in Croke Park, and sure, when that happens, we'll be legends for life. I'm like, well, I mean, the likelihood of it ever happening has decreased exponentially as Dublin have industrialised the process of making money and finding talent. So I hope, and haven't had a chance to read this full interview just yet, but I hope that it's not just a 2-tier championship, that it's actually a structured championship, that they get rid of the league, merge the league and championship, and have 4 divisions where the winners of Division 4 still have an opportunity to reach the All-Ireland quarterfinals. Because if you look at what Westmeath are doing at the moment, what Tipperary have done in recent years, they wouldn't be out of place having won Division 4 or Division 3 in an All-Ireland quarterfinals. And at least then every team in the county, every team in the country believes on day one that if they win every game in their division, they have a chance of competing. And you can have Super 8s after that if you want, so that like there's no risk to a team being beaten, whatever. But like there's definitely some way of structuring it so that the league shoots all the teams in a tiered structure, a seeded structure later in the season.
Yeah, like I think that is kind of in vogue a little bit at the moment, isn't it? It's like give everybody a chance, but obviously there's levels to this stuff where everybody who is in Division 1, so to speak, gets their chance at the end of the season, whereas only 2 from Division 4 might, but at least there are 2.
1 from Division 4. So it's like, you know, if you're absolutely sensational, have a great year, and everybody's fit, you've got a chance to keep going.
So that'd be Carlo last year.
Fair enough.
So that Carlo story still happens.
Yeah, and like the Tip story happens year on year and they get better and better and they continue to progress. And Westmeath, when they were coming up the divisions, they go great. But when they're going down the divisions, they've got to get their house in order and they're coming back up now, so there's a chance for them to be involved. And those league finals, instead of being absolutely meaningless, just another game, then become something massively important. Like if you win Division 2, you're getting home advantage, for example, against the worst team and coming out of Division 1. There's loads of ways to make that really interesting and to be progressive about it. If it's just a 2-tier championship, they're going to say no because they always say no. And I think they're wrong. I think a 2-tier championship is actually a much better idea. But in terms of trying to get something over the line that gives all counties a set number of games and that gives all counties a set number of exposure, then maybe we just need to be a bit more practical and pragmatic about what's going on.
On the back of the Mirror this morning, they've gone with the headline, Yed Devil. Vissam's double makes it a night of European hell for José's flops, as Manchester United won Sevilla 2. You've also got Ireland sweat over Kearney and O'Mahony. Peter O'Mahony and Rob Kearney, they're the 2 big worries ahead of Ireland versus England this Saturday in Twickenham. Over and out reads the headline on the back of the Irish Daily Mail. That's Chris Wheeler's headline there, as Manchester United get knocked out of the Champions League and Stander ready to face 23 angry Englishmen. He says he gets more and more Irish every day, our CJ Stander. While on the front of the Irish Examiner Sports section, you've got stunned by Sevilla. Mourinho's United pay for a lack of ambition with Champions League exit. On the back of the Irish Daily Star this morning, you've got another play on the surname of Ben Yedder. Yed End reads the headline. Sevilla super sub is too hot for shambolic Reds. You've also got Dream Team deliver with Mullins treble. Great day for Willie Mullins and Ruby Walsh yesterday at Cheltenham, in stark contrast with the opening day of last year's festival. Band-Aid is the headline on the Racing from the Sun, while for Manchester United they go with the headline, Sevilla beating, sorry United crash out.
A Band-Aid is that Ruby Walsh was banned for 2 days for use of the whip, but the band doesn't come in until after the Cheltenham Festival, so I was like, who cares?
that was like clickbait 1-on-1 yesterday. It's like,
Cheltenham, what? 2 days? Oh, okay. Grand.
Precisely.
The champion heavyweights. This is the clash of the day that we're all really waiting for. The clash we didn't think we would see as Duvan squares up to the mighty Altior in a thrilling champion chase. So, obviously, Duvan out since last year. Altior in amazing form. And we're going to talk about that race in a bit of detail later on. Sorry, on the back page of the Racing Post, they also have the headline that Mark Hughes is now the favourite for the Southampton job. So, finally, Mark Hughes is going to get to take a team down. It's been on the cards for a very long time now, but ultimately he's managed to get sacked from various jobs before it actually happened. Bamford ready to answer Ireland call. This is Colin Young, and it doesn't say exclusive, but I suspect it might be. So Patrick Bamford, who obviously had, it seemed, switched to England. He played for Ireland all the way up to under 18 and has been in great form for Middlesbrough in the Championship. So I don't know. He's 24 and he qualifies for Ireland through his maternal grandparents. Apparently, last week O'Neill expressed an interest in Bamford, and the headline on this is that he's obviously one of the players who's ready to answer a call from Ireland. I don't know. We just have to wait and see exactly if Bamford is interested in it, because there'd been a suggestion on the show just a couple of weeks back that he wasn't, Bamford wouldn't be interested in, so he's one of those players that we really shouldn't be chasing. So there seems to be a bit of a change, a softening in that position.
Maybe he's just realised the, I suppose, 15 to 20 striker options that are ahead of him in the pecking order for England, and always will be ahead of him in the pecking order for England during the next 10 years of his career.
Or else it's just before a World Cup and you're like, Gareth Southgate, you don't want me, do you not? Well, I'm going to go and join Ireland. And Gareth Southgate goes, I'll give you a game. And that's your one chance.
That would be a bizarre response from Gareth Southgate
to give
a championship striker a game in the lead up, in the preparations for a World Cup.
Did Jermaine Defoe play for England while he was in Toronto?
I don't worry, but that's a different situation, isn't it? I mean,
because he's a really good striker who'd established his class over a decade.
And had already played for England.
Sexton bids to improve his kicking. Extra training for number 10 ahead of England clash. This is Johnny Sexton's kicking has not been great. 6 of his 22 shots at goal He's missed over the course of the Six Nations. Apparently a minor injury to his lower back has denied him the training time that he needs to keep his technique ticking over, but apparently he's all good to go. This is according to Richie Murphy. And the other one there, Maguire is man to solve goals crisis. I wonder who could have said that. Well, it's not none other than Kevin Kilbane, who yesterday was selling the rock and roll half marathon while playing, was it a blue guitar?
It was an inflatable guitar anyway, I think.
Inflatable blue guitar.
That's the most important thing. Himself and Thomas Barr, best friends down at Temple Bar, actually. I wonder was they were playing the name Thomas Barr at Temple Bar with Kevin Kilbane.
They should have done it.
That's like I'm
Kevin drinking pints in the bar. Thomas in Temple Bar.
Like Kevin was just
3 bars. That's a lot of money.
He was sitting in the Temple Bar yesterday watching his tips fail miserably, and there was like, hey, that's Kevin Kilbane, do you want to come out and do a photo shoot? And he was like, yeah, I've got an inflatable guitar as well, let me bring that out.
He carries it everywhere. So there's Alexis Sanchez on his knees, down and out. Dreadful display, sees United slip out of the Champions League. That story from Rafa Honigstein about how there was a lot of dislike within the Arsenal changing room for Alexis Sanchez. People are putting 2 and 2 together. Honigstein is currently working on Per Mertesacker's autobiography.
Oh, really?
So, maybe he has a source in the Arsenal dressing room. I'm not suggesting that Per Mertesacker is the source. I'm just saying that there is this piece of information and there is this piece of information. You put these 2 together and who knows. But anyway, Alexis Sanchez wasn't running very much, right?
No, but when he did, he was like, look at me and all the effort I'm making. What are you doing? And
loads of players don't run as much. Leo Messi doesn't run very much. Frequently you'll see Messi with his hands on his hips.
Yeah.
And maybe not every footballer is I'm going to run 12 kilometres brainless around the pitch, knocking myself out so that whenever an opportunity gets, I'm like, oh, I couldn't make that last inch. Alexis Sanchez is an explosive player, not supposed to be running in perpetual motion.
But that's fine. But don't start giving out to your teammates and celebrating separately from them and being like.
No, you can give out to people. If you're not allowed to give out on the basis that you're not running as much as them, it's like maybe I've got a brain. Maybe I'm not just chasing down the channel in dead lost causes all the time.
But there was kind of a sense that he was giving out of them for a lack of running, for a lack of work ethic. When in actual fact, was his work ethic actually that much higher, or was it sort of, I'm on the ball now, the ball is near me, people will be able to see me at home when I'm running really fast now?
I'm not saying that he's not a hypocrite, but I'm just saying that you can't give out to him for not running too much.
He's a human contradiction. He's not only a hypocrite.
All right, so there it is. I mean, at least Thomas Barr understands, yeah, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm having the crack here. He's used to this. Hey, that's my favourite. Kev he's just out for a jog. Look at those muscles though. That's pretty well defined leg muscles for an outlet, right?
I guess so, yeah.
No.
I'm not an expert on clearly defined leg muscles, but yeah, you'd imagine that he'd still be able to hit one from 20 yards.
It looked like it was something from the Renaissance era.
Just a kind of a wax painting ready to be sculpted.
Yeah, exactly.